With November getting closer and the American presidential elections coming up, the talk about President Obama and his opponent, Mitt Romney, is very frequent. The latest we heard was the debate in Denver last week between the two parties. Surprisingly, Mitt Romney was, among the people, considered the winner. Obama was, in his own words, too kind. Since this, Romney has gone up in polls, and with only a month left, both Romney and Obama have a good 45%. 14-year-old Malala Yousafzai was shot yesterday in Mingora, Pakistan, by a male Taliban. Malala has been blogging about life under the Taliban regime on BBC since the age of 11, bringing up important subjects like girls' rights to go to school. Local Pakistani authorities has offered a reward to the value of 700,000 Swedish crowns for information leading to the people responsible for the attack. Malala is currently being treated in the hospital, but her condition is improving slowly. This year's winner of the Nobel Prize has been chosen, and his name is Mo Yan. Mo Yan, born and raised in China, has written for many years, and his first novel was published in 1981. But his big breakthrough came 5 years later, in 1986, with the short novel Tuming the Hong Luobo. Yan is considered to be a great tale-teller, which is always reflected in his novels.
With his $66 billion fortune, Bill Gates is still the richest man in the US. This is according to a list published by the magazine Forbes on the 19th of September. Bill Gates earned his enormous fortune by founding Microsoft in the 70s and 80s. The second wealthiest man is the investment guru Warren Buffett. He owns $46 billion. On third place, after Warren Buffett, comes Larry Ellison. He's one of the founders of the software company Oracle and has a fortune of $41 billion. Together, the 400 richest persons in the US have a total wealth of $1,700 billion. Imagine that. Now over to some news from Sweden. The Swedish electronic retailing company Expert has filed for bankruptcy. The company could not pay their debts and is therefore out of business. Earlier, Expert had a sales figure of 2.8 billion Swedish crowns a year and was therefore one of the biggest companies in the electronic retailing business in Sweden. And within a month, the 817 employees of Expert will be out of work. Last week, there was a huge bankruptcy sale in almost every Expert shop. Some customers became overexcited and there was actually some bloodshed in one of the shops. The launching of the new iPhone 5 has been extremely successful. According to Apple, 2 million persons have ordered the new iPhone 5 during the first 24 hours. And Apple announces that all previous sales records have been beaten. The critics are not impressed of the new iPhone though. They claim that they cannot see any big differences between the new iPhone 5 and the last version, iPhone 4S. And among other things, Louis Page from The Register criticizes Apple for not having any changeable battery or memory card. Despite the criticism, the Apple share reaches new stock market all-time high. The stock price of Apple has now passed $700 and the company is the highest valued at present. The total stock market value of Apple is $670 billion. The so-called PE ratio of Apple is 16.45. The PE ratio is the stock market price divided by earnings per share. A high PE ratio means that the stock market price is high relative to earnings per share. And to decide whether the PE ratio is high or not, one typically compares the PE ratio of a specific company to other similar companies. If the PE ratio is higher than for these similar companies, one explanation can be that the company is doing very well and is expected to generate a higher profitability than the other companies. On the other hand, a high PE ratio might indicate that a company is overvalued. That is, the stock market price is too high due to speculation. And as a point of reference, the PE ratio of Facebook is 75. And due to this very high PE ratio, many analysts claim that Facebook is overvalued. So, comparing the PE ratio of Apple to the PE ratio of Facebook, the risk that the Apple share is overvalued is maybe not so high, despite the very high stock price. And now I will interview Michael, who has just ordered a new iPhone 5. What are your expectations of the new iPhone 5?
I know they have made it a bit thinner and a bit taller. I guess that's because it probably feels so better to hold. I hope it's like the iPhone 4S without the small bugs and some new features, of course.
Do you think that your choice of a phone is a result of a very strong brand name, or is it due to some specific characteristics of the iPhone? Is the new iPhone 5 something that you discuss a lot among your friends?
I think a lot of people buy iPhone 5 because iPhone is an extremely popular phone. And of course we discuss a lot about iPhone 5. It is a huge hype around all over the world, over the internet sites and everywhere. We all like different phones and we always get in discussions about iPhone, Samsung and HTC.
To most people, a new iPhone is very expensive. Do you think that the new iPhone 5 is worth the money?
I really hope so, because if it's not that different from iPhone 4S, then it's a real waste of money. But Apple hasn't let me down yet, and I hope they won't do it this time either.
Thank you, Michael, and now over to Jacob.
The NHL lockout that has been discussed in the past month is now reality. The players and the teams do not agree with each other about the new collective contract, and the whole season is in danger. Almost 60 Swedish players from NHL will be affected by the lockout, and a lot of them will come to Sweden to play. At first, Elitserien banned NHL players to come and play in the league, but that did not go as planned. There has been a lot of discussion whether Elitserien should allow NHL players or not. The Hockey League wanted to shut down transfers between the NHL and the Elitserien, but the Swedish competitive authorities decided that the Hockey League is not allowed to do that. The competitive authorities' decisions...
Jag är neutral. Okay.
The competitive authorities' decision means that it's up to each club who they want to hire, says Göran Eriksson. Modo and Frölunda is the only teams in Elitserien that agrees with the competitive authorities, probably because they want to reinforce their team with old players that left for NHL. In Allsvenskan, this discussion is over, and some of the teams has already signed a few players. Douglas Murray, Victor Fast and Ansi Kopitar is a few of them. It costs a lot to insure the players from NHL, and that puts a limit for most of the teams, because of the unstable economic situation.
14-year-old Malala Yousafzai was shot yesterday in Mingora.
And now I will interview Fuck Vad Hette Du?
Fuck vad heter du? Det får bli mitt namn. Fuck vad heter du?
Nej.